You see a fat, slow merchant ship sitting heavy in the water? Oh yeah, it's heavy because it's full of cannons and marines. Pirate moment. Heavy looking ships are either filled with two things, booty or booty, like actual military men that will fight you back. Pirate life will never not sound fun to me. I'm sure it actually wasn't at times, but I kind of want to do it. Countries that have never lost a battle. Canada, we've heard of that one before. Brazil, Chile, couple places in Africa. Oh wait, no, that's not accurate. Doubt. Someone should revise this. Never lost a war against humans, because this statement would include giant birds. Yo, how is Korea on this list too? That's not accurate. I know they lost to China and Japan multiple times. When you're a World War II veteran and someone in Europe trips over an old landmine you left there almost a century ago, you've been promoted. Private first class. What the frick was that? Now that's dark, but I'll take the extra XP. Just learned that Rasputin's grandchildren were alive in 1978. Imagine hearing a song on the radio about how severely your granddad fricks. And who would have thought now you have TikTok girls twerking to it? It's so horrifying to think of your grandparents in any sort of scenario like that. The issue is that every gross thought you've ever had that's run through your mind probably ran through their mind when they were your age. What hoods in America sound like? Yeah, that's chilling. That's a normal day. That's where I grew up. What hoods sound like in the UK?
Putteth thy pockets.
Scallywag.
Not you scallywag.
I knew they were gonna say that. I imagine this must be an everyday occurrence in the United Kingdom streets. It's hard out there in the hood.
Okay, everyone's in agreement.
Adopting
on this,
the metric
right? There's
system.
Really no reason not to be. It's a universal way that we can keep track of
Australia,
measurements, regardless
down.
of our language. Everyone's changed to the metric system, right?
Canada.
Right? Yes, yes.
Canada
USA?
down. Japan. USA.
USA?
No.
USA?
What?
I like feet.
Okay.
Why
Oh.
do we hang out with him?
Why? Gosh.
Actually, he makes a pretty compelling argument. Okay,
Is that true?
everyone's in agreement.
Wait. What? Burma? Wow, I knew that there was one other country, but I didn't know it was that one. Liberia makes sense. That was like our little, strange African experiment. The USA saying you and I had a fight recently. Canada, did I win? No, I won. Easily. That doesn't sound right. Well, it's true, and we've been saying it to this day. I don't know how they teach this now, but I do remember them kind of just like, yeah, they burned down the White House, but we basically won. Another W for America. We've never taken an L. Best case scenario, it was a tie. It was probably a tie. Oh, not this again. Countries that have been colonized by Europe. 95% of modern day countries have been once under European control. But what's this? Never colonized. Alexander the Great? I was actually gonna make this joke thinking that that was not the direction they were gonna go in, but I guess that is. I mean, technically, it's true. He was European. Inaccurate. Love that Mongolia got one of the biggest dubs ever in history with just the greatest horde empire. But even after that, they were never allowed to be colonized by Europe. Although, I mean, they were kind of under, like, Soviet control for a little bit there, right? A little bit? Not colonized. All right. Myth. It's Greenland because the Vikings were dumb. Fact. Iceland was overpopulated, and they knew nobody wanted to live on a big iceberg. So they named it Greenland, saving Icelandic people from not having any food. See this? This is fine. The problem is the rest of the world who adopted it. After all the things the Vikings did to everybody else, who trusts these fools to name anything at that point? I'm not just gonna take their word for it that on the North Pole there's green land. Imagine how pissed some of those families must have been. You leave Iceland because it's super overpopulated. You think, oh man, this Greenland place sounds nice, let's go. You gotta pack up and leave your entire life to take a boat trip for a couple days or weeks. You're expecting some beautiful land, and the first thing you see is this just horrible environment. They're just gonna drop you off right there in the snow. All right, have fun. You said I was serving the motherland. Why are there boom boom devices strapped to me, comrade? This makes me very sad. The USSR did this with their dogs for a little bit. Oh man, this one still hurts me to this day. Basically, just don't be a dog in the Soviet Union. I mean, at least this one got sent to space. Free ride, but no return trip. I'm just glad she eventually got her own statue. How it started? Our damn forefathers leaving that ocean. We should have never done this. How it's going? This is definitely everyone right now after a year of lockdown. Somebody needs to go back in time and just sit there and curb stomp any of these foods that try to leave the water. Pavlov trying to establish conditioning as a biological phenomenon. His dog, who's already conditioned Pavlov to feed him every day. Reverse card. Dog's getting back at us for all the horrible things we've done. South American country. Hold it right there. Already know where this is going. Democratically votes for a leader that is no longer friendly to U.S. business interests. CIA rolling in with all their Chad agents. This just makes me think that they, like, seduce them to going back to doing what the USA wants. Bold strategy, let's see if that pays off for him, Cotton. People of London in 1962 be like, dies. Wait, filling your city with smog is not a good idea? It was actually 1952, and thousands of people did not make it because of this event. However, it did lead to the Clean Air Act of 1956, so there's a positive. Yo, is Britain ever gonna learn? There's like multiple examples of them just like pumping bad things in the air. You win Luxembourg's first gold medal. The organizers never expected your country to win, and they don't know what your anthem is. I'm assuming this was back in the day when they didn't like play everybody's anthem. Don't they play everybody's anthem now? Like before anyone ever wins? Or before the games begin, I thought. This was in the 1952 Summer Olympics in the men's 1500 meters. That is so specific. I didn't even know there was a 1500 meter event. Why is that? 1600 meters is a mile. Oh, is it because Europe doesn't do that? 800's 2 laps. The 1600 is 4 laps. Why chop off 100 meters there? Yeah, see, look at this weird ass fraction. But I guess it's because it's 1.5 kilometers. That's why. But yep, that's the first gold medal Luxembourg won. Land gets discovered. European countries. Mine. Forgot that I could do that so well. I'm a little surprised at myself. I love the inclusion of all the historical flags. This man went above and beyond for this meme. Respect. Women campaigning against women's suffrage. Men campaigning for women's suffrage. Well, this is an awkward turn of events. Didn't think I'd see you here. Gregor Mendel with one unsuspecting pea plant and another unsuspecting pea plant. This dude is credited for figuring out the invisible traits that determine how certain things come to life. Basically genes. He's responsible for genes. And no, I did not know that off the top of my head. I had to look that up. Oh, his work was talking about the invisible factors and predictably determining the traits of an organism. Okay, I'm gonna fight everyone around me, says Paraguay. Damn, 80% of my male population is gone. My neighbor's got hands. Gotta respect the drive though, Paraguay. Just the fact that you tried is honestly kind of incredible. Imagine being surrounded by nations and thinking you could just fight them all. Haha, am I right? Charlie Chaplin, after seeing Hilter in the newspaper, noticed you've copied my mustache. Too bad Charlie Chaplin didn't copy strike him. Could have got him to say I would never financially recover from this and we would have avoided a whole lot of terrible things. Apparently the actual name for this is a toothbrush mustache. I just call it the skinny mustache. It was made famous by comedians Charlie Chaplin and Oliver Hardy, but it was really popular in the US and kind of around the world. Even this guy was sporting it in 1979. Look at that. You think it'll ever come back? Here are some of the most feared guerrilla fighters in history. Oh, it's just, it's obviously oozing terror. Notice how they all have one thing in common, a photographer that only takes black and white pictures. That's the key to all this. The city of Troy celebrating their victory over the Greeks. Celebrating their victory in a pile of trash? Oh, I mean a pile of trash and Greeks. What a giant dumpster fire. 5'9"? I didn't know they stacked ish that high. Oh, yes, they do. And historically, we had precedent for this. Damn, this dude was taller than me. It's a weird thought. Mitsubishi Motors making the Japanese Zero, super iconic plane, very devastating, versus Mitsubishi Motors making pretty much any Japanese tank. I mean, luckily they didn't really need tanks to fight the US. I mean, you can't really use tanks in the ocean, but that's probably actually why. They probably didn't put much effort into it because of that. This does say the best Japanese designs were never used in combat as they were kept back in expectation of defending the Japanese home islands. So we only encountered the bad stuff. Basically. There, little buddy. You want a kiss to make the boo-boo go away? Yes. Somebody should talk to this new guy. Maybe his mask hasn't come in yet. That's why he's gonna use experimental methods. Should work fine, I think. Octavian, that Nile cat, thing got me questioning my loyalty to Rome. I would be very careful with the path this person has chosen to go down. This is giving me some country human history meme vibes. Actually surprised we've made it this long without seeing more depictions of historical figures as cat girls. Oh, well, here's another one. I've come all the way to Egypt to get my gym badge so that I can become the very best. My, but were you prepared for this? Time to I would have my editor like edit that in, but it'd probably be way too complicated. Ada. I was waiting for her to say some shit like that. Europeans deciding their borders. Science intensifies. Americans deciding state borders. You'll be a rectangle. Unless, of course, it's the Europeans deciding other people's borders, then it's the same thing. You'll be a rectangle. I'm gonna change this one up a bit. Britain and France, basically throughout history, Britain and France in 1904, and kind of beyond. Voldemort and Dumbledore putting their differences aside finally. Guess in this scenario, Voldy has to be French. France, because they got the blue wand. Russian architects in 1770 when making a building versus Russian architects in 1970 when making a building. Yo, be a rectangle. What the hell happened, man? I know this isn't exactly the right dates, but look how beautiful these buildings were. It looks like Candyland, so many colors. Only to go to this. I mean, maybe you only build like the stuff that you really care about fancy. That would make sense. The Netherlands asks, what's your city's name? New York City. Your city's name is New York City? Yeah, says England. Sounds a lot like New York. Maybe that's why it's in New York. This makes it even better if that is the Dutch. Their flag has changed, but because the Dutch used to have New York City and then it got taken from them. So you can just sense the salt in this even more so. When the Argentine police search some old guy's house after all this time, always don't do that. Don't do that to such a nice scene. You put these images, no, come on, don't ruin this for me. Viking 1, what should we call it? Viking 2, Greenland. Eric the Red, genius. I mean, technically from what we learned, it is genius because they had to trick people to get to Greenland. It was actually a genius marketing move. Explorer, you find land. It's new, you don't know what to call it. Newfoundland. I'll never get this out of my head. I cannot, like, it bothers me. And you know what? Canada just owns it. They kept that name. I actually don't know what's worse, Greenland or Newfoundland. Who gets the award for worst naming? As always, big thanks to the patrons. I'm About a Nut, Zeffi, Thiccboi 3000, the Glen Council, BallinLikeStalin, Stormtrooper 501, Scotty from Marketing, Patrick C, Palantino 1013, Manny 74, Mac, M203 BrushEm, LuxembourgLover, FusionWolf, EpiNick, Elijah Senpai, Dalton D, AryanAfterHours, Anikyte, and Aaron F.